Admiral Taman stood in the command center, staring at the screen in front of him. The red light blinked over and over like a heartbeat. It had been doing this for 3 days now. 3 long days of waiting, analyzing, and arguing about what it meant. The signal came from deep space, from a place humans had only started to explore. It was a distress call, a cry for help. The computers had worked hard to translate the alien language, and when they finally figured it out, the message made everyone on Earth stop and listen. The aliens called themselves the Velrin. They said they were dying. They said another alien race, the Canthros Dominion, was attacking them, killing them, hunting their children, destroying their cities. The message begged for help. It begged for someone, anyone, to come and save them. Tamin was an old soldier. He had seen many wars before Earth finally found peace. His gray hair and tired eyes told stories of battles fought and friends lost. He looked at the message with doubt in his heart. Something felt wrong. Something felt too easy. Commander Hyejin stood beside him. She was young, smart, and believed in doing the right thing. She worked in the diplomatic department, teaching humans how to talk to aliens and make friends across the stars. Her eyes were bright with hope as she read the message again. "We have to help them," she said. "This is what we trained for. This is why we built those medical ships and peace vessels. We cannot just ignore this." Captain Wu Jin crossed his arms. He was a military man, like Timon, but younger and stronger. He commanded the First Strike Fleet, the most powerful battle group humanity had ever built. His instincts screamed danger. "We know nothing about these Velrin," Wu Jin said. "We know nothing about this Canthros Dominion. This could be a trap. We should send scouts first. We should watch and wait." But the message kept playing on every news channel across Earth. People saw the translated words. They heard the cries for help. They saw images the Velrin had sent, showing destroyed cities and families running in fear. It did not matter if the images were real or fake. People believed them. Protests filled the streets. Millions of humans demanded action. They said Earth had finally achieved peace among all nations. They said it was time to share that peace with the galaxy. They said humanity should be heroes, not cowards hiding behind their weapons. The Earth Council met in their Great Hall. Representatives from every nation argued for hours. Some wanted to help, some wanted to wait. But the pressure from the people was too strong. In the end, they voted to send a relief fleet. Taman sat in the council chamber and felt his stomach turn. He voted against the mission. He was one of only 5 people who did. But democracy had spoken. The mission would go forward. The relief fleet was small but filled with hope. 3 cruisers for protection, 2 medical frigates loaded with supplies and doctors, and 1 diplomatic vessel. Hyejin would lead the diplomatic team. She volunteered immediately, her face glowing with purpose. 500 people joined the mission: doctors, nurses, engineers, teachers, and diplomats. They were the best humanity had to offer. They packed food, medicine, building materials, and tools. They prepared to save an alien species they had never met. Wu Jin requested permission to follow them with his battle fleet. He wanted to stay hidden nearby, just in case. The council said no. They worried it would make humanity look aggressive. They worried it would scare other aliens who might be watching. They wanted to look peaceful and kind. The night before the fleet departed, Taimin found Hyejin in the observation deck. She stood looking at Earth below, the planet shining blue and white in the darkness of space. "You do not have to go," Taimin said quietly. "You can send someone else." Hyejin smiled. "Someone else?" "No, Admiral. I have been training my whole life for this moment. First contact with an alien species in need. The chance to show them that humanity is good. That we care. That we are ready to join the galactic community as friends and helpers." "I have a bad feeling about this," Taman admitted. "You have a bad feeling about everything," Hyejin laughed. "That is why you are a good admiral. But sometimes we need to take risks for the right reasons. These people need us. I will not turn my back on them." Taman wanted to order her to stay. But he had no authority over volunteers. He could only watch as she walked away, her steps light and confident. The next morning, the relief fleet launched. Thousands of people gathered to watch. They cheered and waved flags. Children held signs that said, "Humanity helps" and "Peace across the stars." News cameras broadcast the event across the entire solar system. Hee-jin stood on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel, the Phoenix Rising. She waved to the cameras one last time before the ship turned toward deep space. The 5 ships formed a tight group and activated their hyperspace drives. In a flash of light, they were gone. Taemin watched from the command center. Woo-jin stood beside him, his jaw tight. "I should be with them," Woo-jin said. "I know," Taemin replied. For 8 days, they received regular updates. The fleet was making good progress. The crew was excited. Ye-jin sent video messages showing her team practicing their greetings in the Velran language. Everyone seemed happy and hopeful. On the 9th day, the messages stopped. Taemin felt his blood turn cold. He ordered the communication officers to keep trying. They sent message after message. They used every frequency, every channel, every method they knew. Silence. Woo-jin paced like a caged animal. "Let me take my fleet. Let me go find them." "Wait," Taemin said, though his heart was racing. "We need to be sure. Maybe their communications are just damaged. Maybe they are in hyperspace and cannot respond. We wait for the scheduled check-in time." The check-in time came and went. Still silence. Taemin stood up from his chair. His hands were shaking. He gave the order he had feared giving from the very beginning. "Send the reconnaissance drones, fast and quiet. I want to know what happened to our people. I want to know now." The drones launched immediately, their small engines pushing them to maximum speed. They would reach the Velran system in 17 hours. Those were the longest 17 hours of Taemin's life. He did not sleep. He did not eat. He stood in the command center, watching the clock count down, praying to gods he did not believe in that his fears were wrong. When the drones finally arrived and began transmitting, Taemin felt his world collapse. The screens filled with images of debris, twisted metal, shattered hulls, bodies floating in the void. The entire relief fleet was destroyed. And waiting at the scene, like vultures over a corpse, was a massive alien armada. Their ships were painted with symbols that matched the Velran language. They were broadcasting a message across all frequencies, laughing at humanity's weakness. The trap had been perfect, and 500 of humanity's best people were dead. The reconnaissance drones sent back more footage, and each new image made the truth more horrible. Admiral Taemin forced himself to watch every second. He owed the dead that much. He owed them his witness. The medical frigate Dawn's Hope was torn in half. Its hull was split open like a broken toy. Medical supplies drifted through space in a cloud of frozen air and blood. The other medical ship, Mercy Wing, was completely gone. Only a field of small debris marked where it had been. The explosion must have been instant, vaporizing everyone inside before they even knew they were dying. The 3 cruisers had tried to fight back. Taemin could see the scorch marks on their hulls where their weapons had fired. But they were peace cruisers, lightly armed and built for escort duty, not for war. Against the Velran armada, they stood no chance. All 3 were now cold, dark wrecks tumbling through space. The diplomatic vessel, the Phoenix Rising, was the worst to see. It had been targeted first. The Velran had hit it with everything they had. They wanted to make sure no one could negotiate, no one could talk, no one could ask questions. Hyejin had died in the first few seconds of the ambush. Communications officer Jiwoo had been on the cruiser Indomitable. The drones found the wreckage of the ship's communication array, still recording. There was one final message, sent in the last moments before the ship died. Captain Dong-hyun's voice, calm despite the chaos, spoke clearly. "Command, this is Indomitable. We are under attack." The distress signal was false. I repeat, the distress signal was a trap. The Velran are hostile. They were waiting for us. They wanted us here. They wanted... Static. Then nothing. The drones picked up Velran broadcasts. The alien ships were celebrating. They transmitted their victory across known space, sending the footage to every species that had communication technology. They showed humanity's burning ships. They mocked Earth's weakness. They called humans stupid and naive for falling for such an obvious trick. The Velrun commander spoke directly to the camera. The translation came through cold and clear. Let this be a lesson to all who watch. Humanity is weak. Humanity is foolish. They believed our lies because they wanted to be heroes. Now their heroes are dead. We claim their territory. We claim their resources. Their worlds are forfeit. Any species that helps humanity will face the same fate. The broadcast ended with laughter. Taemin stood in the command center, his hands gripping the edge of his console. His knuckles had turned white. Around him, the entire staff stood in shocked silence. Some were crying, some were angry. All of them were looking at him, waiting for orders. Behind Taemin, someone collapsed to the floor. He turned to see Mi-Ray, the civilian liaison officer. She was Hyejin's younger sister. She had helped coordinate the relief mission from Earth, working day and night to make sure everything was perfect for her sister's great adventure. Mi-Ray was screaming. Not words, just raw sounds of grief and rage. Two officers tried to help her up, but she pushed them away. She crawled to the screen showing the debris of the Phoenix Rising and pressed her hands against it as if she could reach through and pull her sister back. She just wanted to help them, Mi-Ray sobbed. She just wanted to help. Taemin felt something inside him break. Not his discipline. Not his control. Something deeper. Something that had kept him human through all the wars he had fought. It cracked and fell away, leaving only cold fury. Captain Wu Jin stepped forward. His face was like stone, but his eyes burned. "Admiral," he said quietly, "give me the order. Let me take my fleet. Let me show these aliens what happens when they murder our people." "No," Taemin said. His voice was steady, but everyone in the room took a step back. They had never heard that tone from him before. Not yet. This requires more than one fleet. This requires everything. The Earth Council was called into emergency session. Every leader from every nation arrived within hours. They gathered in the Great Chamber, and for the first time in human history, there was no debate, no arguing, no political games. They watched the footage together. They saw their people die. They heard the Velrun mock humanity's compassion. The vote was unanimous. Every single representative voted yes. Earth declared total war. The declaration was broadcast across the planet. Every screen, every device, every communication channel carried the same message. The president of the Earth Council spoke with tears in her eyes. Today, our children went to help strangers in need. Today, those strangers murdered our children for sport. Today, humanity learned a terrible lesson. Kindness without strength is weakness. Compassion without power is suicide. We will not make this mistake again. She paused, looking directly into the camera. To the Velrun, we say this. You wanted our attention. You have it. You wanted to test humanity. You have tested us. You wanted to show the galaxy that humans are weak. Instead, you have shown them what happens when humanity goes to war. We are coming. We will not stop. We will not slow down. We will not show mercy. You killed our peace envoys. Now you will meet our warriors. The broadcast ended with one simple statement that would echo across the galaxy. Earth does not forgive. Earth does not forget. Earth is coming. Within hours, the transformation began. Every shipyard from Earth to the outer planets received the same orders. Stop all civilian production. Build warships. Build weapons. Build armor. Build everything needed to wage war on a scale the galaxy had never seen. Factories that made cars started making tanks. Factories that made computers started making targeting systems. Factories that made medicine started making combat drugs to keep soldiers alive longer. Every resource, every worker, every piece of technology turned toward one goal: destroy the Velrun. Taemin was promoted to Supreme Commander of the United Earth War Fleet. He did not celebrate. He simply accepted the responsibility and got to work. Wu Jin became War Master, commanding the Vanguard Fleet. His first order was to name his flagship. He called it Retribution. No one questioned the choice. Across Earth, people lined up to enlist. Millions of them. Young and old, men and women, people from every nation and culture. They all wanted to fight. They all wanted revenge. Mireille stopped crying after 3 days. She walked into a recruitment office and demanded to join the military. They tried to send her to support services, thinking she was too emotionally damaged for combat duty. She looked at the recruiter with eyes that had turned to ice. "My sister died trying to save them," she said. "I will not dishonor her by sitting at home. Put me where I can hurt them most." They made her a tactical analyst. She was smart, like her sister, but where Heijin had used her intelligence to build bridges, Mireille would use hers to burn them. The galactic community watched nervously. Some alien species sent messages to the Velrun, warning them that they had made a terrible mistake. They told stories of humanity's history, of how humans had nearly destroyed themselves in countless wars before finally finding peace. They explained that humans knew war better than any other species in the galaxy. The Velrun ignored the warnings. They posted more broadcasts, showing off their fleet, boasting about their strength. They fortified their borders and prepared for what they assumed would be a small revenge strike. They had no idea what was building in Earth's shipyards. 3 months passed. 3 months of constant work. 3 months of rage turning into purpose. 3 months of humanity remembering every lesson learned from thousands of years of warfare. In orbit above Earth, the fleet began to assemble. First dozens of ships, then hundreds, then thousands. Admiral Taemin stood on the bridge of his new flagship, Earth's Fury. It was the largest ship humanity had ever built, a mobile command center with enough firepower to destroy a moon. Around him, captains reported in, each one ready, each one eager. The final count came through. 20,000 warships. 20,000 vessels built for one purpose only: war. Taemin looked at the fleet through the observation window and felt no pride, no excitement, only grim determination. "All ships," he broadcast across the entire fleet. "Prepare for hyperspace jump. Target, Velrun home system. Rules of engagement, total warfare, no quarter, no mercy. They wanted to see humanity's strength. Let us show them." The fleet acknowledged. 20,000 ships, each one carrying humanity's wrath, turned toward deep space. "Jump in 48 hours, Taemin ordered. "Use the time to prepare. Check your weapons. Check your systems. And remember why we are going. Remember the 500 who went in peace and died in ambush. Remember their names. Remember their faces. We go to avenge them." The countdown began. And across the galaxy, those who could detect such things felt a shift in the fabric of space itself, as if the universe knew that something terrible was about to happen. The shipyards never stopped. Day and night, the sound of construction echoed through the void. Sparks from welding torches lit up the darkness like artificial stars. Metal screamed as it was cut, shaped, and forged into instruments of war. Sang-ho walked through the main construction bay of the Luna shipyard, watching robots and humans work side by side. He was humanity's leading weapons engineer, a man who had spent his entire life creating defensive systems to protect Earth from asteroids and space debris. Now, his genius was being used for something much darker. "Show me the railgun test results," he said to his assistant. The data appeared on his tablet. The numbers made him pause. The new railguns could fire a projectile at 3% of light speed. When something moved that fast, it did not need explosives. The kinetic energy alone would punch through any armor, any shield, any defense. The impact would release energy equivalent to a nuclear bomb. "It works too well," his assistant said nervously. "Sir, this weapon is terrifying." "Good," Sang-ho replied coldly. "It should be. We are building terror. We are building nightmares. The Velrun wanted to see what happens when they provoke humanity. These weapons are our answer." He moved to the next section, where teams were assembling fusion warheads. Each one had a yield measured in gigatons, powerful enough to crack a continent. They were loading thousands of them onto the warships. A young engineer approached him. "Dr. Sang-ho, some of the scientists are asking questions. They want to know if we are going too far. if we are building weapons that are too powerful. Sang-ho stopped walking. He turned to face the young man. Tell them this. The Velryn murdered 500 unarmed people who came to help them. They murdered doctors and teachers. They murdered people who brought medicine and food. Then they laughed about it. Then they threatened to take our worlds. There is no such thing as too far. There is only enough and not enough. We will build enough. The young engineer nodded and walked away quickly. Sang-ho continued his inspection. The next area housed the quantum link targeting systems, his most brilliant creation. Each ship in the fleet would be connected through quantum entanglement. They would share targeting data instantly, faster than light, impossible to jam or intercept. 20,000 ships would fight not as separate vessels, but as one massive intelligence network. How many systems are online? He asked the lead programmer. 18,000 and counting, she replied. We will have full fleet integration in 24 hours. Across the solar system, similar scenes played out. At the Martian shipyards, crews assembled the massive dreadnoughts. At the Jupiter station, fighter craft rolled off assembly lines by the hundreds. At the asteroid belt facilities, armor plating was being forged from the hardest metals humanity could create. Nari stood in the Strategic Planning Center, surrounded by holographic displays showing every known detail about the Velryn. She had been working for 3 months without rest, studying every broadcast, every transmission, every piece of information the Velryn had ever shared. They are arrogant, she told her team. That is their weakness. They broadcast their tactics because they think no one can defeat them. They show off their formations because they are proud. They share their battle victories because they want others to fear them. But in doing so, they have given us everything we need to destroy them. She pulled up a display showing Velryn fleet formations. They prefer the hammer and anvil approach. Their heavy ships form the anvil, holding the enemy in place. Their fast ships circle around as the hammer, crushing the enemy between them. It has worked for them in every battle they have fought. One of her analysts spoke up. How do we counter it? Nari smiled, but there was no warmth in it. We do not counter it. We make it irrelevant. They think in terms of thousands of ships. We are bringing 20,000. They think in terms of controlling space. We will control time. They think in terms of defeating enemies. We will think in terms of erasing them. She pulled up a simulation. It showed the Velryn home system surrounded by human ships in a perfect sphere. We do not engage their fleet in the traditional sense. We surround their entire system simultaneously. Every direction they turn, they face our guns. Every escape route, we block. They want to use hammer and anvil? We will be the entire forge. The analysts watched the simulation run. In every scenario, the result was the same. Total Velryn defeat in under 4 hours. That seems too easy, one analyst said. It is not easy, Nari replied. It is overwhelming. There is a difference. They will fight. They will try to escape. They will call for help. But none of it will matter. We are not giving them a battle. We are giving them an execution. Captain Wu Jin stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching the final weapons being loaded. His flagship was 3 kilometers long, covered in armor thick enough to withstand anything the Velryn could throw at it. Its main cannon ran the entire length of the ship, a monster that could fire a projectile capable of destroying a city. His executive officer approached. War Master, all systems are green. We are ready for combat operations. Status of the Vanguard fleet? Wu Jin asked. All 5,000 ships report ready. The Vengeance is in formation beside us. Wu Jin looked out at the Vengeance, the sister ship to his Retribution. Its captain was Kyung-soo, his closest friend and brother-in-arms. They had trained together, fought in simulations together, and now they would go to war together. Connect me to Captain Kyung-soo, Wu Jin ordered. The communication link opened immediately. Kyung-soo appeared on the screen, his face serious. Are you ready? Wu Jin asked. I was ready 3 months ago, Kyung-soo replied. My crew is angry. They want blood. I want blood. The Velryn took people we knew, people we trained with, people we cared about. We will give them what they deserve, Wu Jin promised. Stay close during the attack. Our ships will lead the vanguard. We will be the first to fire. We will show them that humanity's mercy died with our peace envoys. Kyung-soo nodded. It will be an honor to fight beside you. The connection closed. Woo-jin turned to his crew. All hands, battle stations. This is not a drill. In 48 hours, we jump to Velran space. Check every system twice. Check every weapon 3 times. I want perfection. I want every shot to count. Make the Velran regret the day they heard the word human. The crew moved with purpose. There was no fear on their faces. Only determination. Mireille sat in the intelligence section of Earth's Fury, reviewing tactical data. She wore a military uniform now, with her sister Hyejin's diplomatic insignia sewn onto the shoulder. She had modified it slightly, adding a small black ribbon. Mourning and memory combined with duty. Admiral Tai-min found her there, working late into the night cycle. You should rest, he said gently. I will rest when they are dead, Mireille replied without looking up. I have been analyzing their command structure. The Velran admiral who ordered the ambush is named Krelvok. He commands from a ship called the Dominance. I want that ship. I want him. We will get him, Tai-min promised. Will we? Mireille looked at him finally. Her eyes were haunted. Will we really make them pay? Or will we just defeat them and then offer peace like we always do? Will we be merciful to people who deserve no mercy? Tai-min sat down beside her. I have been a soldier for 50 years. I have fought in wars. I have lost friends. But I have never felt what I feel now. This rage. This need for vengeance. It scares me because I know it is right. The Velran must be punished, not just defeated. They must be broken so completely that no species ever dares to do this again. Good, Mireille said, because Hyejin was the good one. She was the one who believed in peace and second chances. I am not her. I will not forgive. I will not forget. I want them to suffer. They will, Tai-min said quietly. I promise you, they will. The 48 hours counted down. Across the fleet, crews prepared. Pilots climbed into their fighters and ran system checks. Gunners calibrated their weapons. Engineers made sure every reactor was running at peak efficiency. Marines sharpened their combat skills, knowing they might be called to board enemy vessels. The civilian population of Earth watched the preparations on every news channel. There were no protests this time. No calls for peace. No demands for negotiation. Everyone understood that this was necessary. This was justice. In the final hours before the jump, Admiral Tai-min broadcast a message to the entire fleet. Soldiers of Earth, in a few hours we jump to the Velran home system. We go to war against an enemy that betrayed the most basic rule of civilization. They attacked those who came in peace. They killed those who offered help. They mocked our compassion and threatened our worlds. We will show them the other side of humanity, the side that conquered this planet through 10,000 years of warfare, the side that built weapons that nearly destroyed us, the side that learned every possible way to kill, destroy, and dominate. But we will do this with purpose. We are not murderers. We are not genocidal monsters. We will destroy their military. We will break their government. We will ensure they can never threaten another species again. But we will not slaughter civilians. We will not become what they are. Remember the 500. Remember why they died. Remember that they wanted to build bridges between species. We honor them by showing the galaxy that humanity is better than its enemies. We are strong enough to be kind, but we are also strong enough to punish those who mistake kindness for weakness. All ships prepare to jump, and may whatever gods exist have mercy on the Velran, because we will not. The fleet acknowledged. 20,000 ships carrying humanity's wrath and humanity's justice prepared to cross the light years in an instant. The countdown reached 0. Space tore open as 20,000 hyperspace portals activated simultaneously. The ships vanished in a flash of light. And across the galaxy, in the Velran home system, alarms began to scream. The Velran home system was beautiful. 3 planets orbited a yellow star similar to Earth's sun. The second planet, Velranar Prime, was their homeworld. Green continents and blue oceans, cities that sparkled in the sunlight, orbital stations that hung like jewels in the sky, It was peaceful, calm, unsuspecting. Then reality broke. 20,000 tiers in space opened simultaneously, forming a perfect sphere around the entire system. From each tier emerged warships, human warships, bristling with weapons and burning with purpose. In one instant, the Velrun went from safety to being surrounded by an enemy fleet that outnumbered them 10 to 1. Admiral Krelvac was in his quarters aboard the Dominance when the alarm started screaming. He ran to the bridge in his sleeping clothes, his mind refusing to accept what his sensors were telling him. "Report," he shouted. His tactical officer's voice shook. "Admiral, we are detecting massive hyperspace exits. Multiple contacts, thousands of contacts. They are surrounding us." "Impossible. No fleet is that large. It must be sensor ghosts. Check again." "Admiral, these are not sensor ghosts. The contacts are solid. They are powering weapons." "Admiral, they are human ships." Krelvac felt his blood turn cold. "How many?" The tactical officer checked his screen 3 times before answering. "Estimated 20,000 vessels, Admiral." The bridge fell silent. 20,000 ships. The entire Velrun defense fleet numbered only 2,000 vessels, and most of those were scattered across their territory. Here, at the homeworld, they had maybe 800 ships ready for immediate combat. "Get me the defense coordinator," Krelvac ordered. "Scramble all available ships, activate all defense stations, send distress calls to every Velrun fleet in range." His communication officer tried to open channels, but before he could, every screen on the bridge suddenly switched to show the same image. A human face. An older male with gray hair and cold eyes. Admiral Taman spoke in perfect Velrun. The translation computers had done their work. "Attention Velrun forces. I am Supreme Commander Taman of the United Earth War Fleet. 3 months ago, you murdered 500 of our people who came to help you. You murdered them without warning, without mercy, without honor. You laughed about it. You mocked our kindness. You threatened our worlds." Taman paused, his expression like stone. "We are here to answer that threat. You wanted to see human strength. You wanted to test our worthiness. You have our answer. Surrender immediately, and you will be treated according to the laws of war. Resist, and we will erase your military from existence. You have 60 seconds to respond." Krelvac felt rage replace his fear. How dare these primitive humans demand his surrender? He commanded the pride of the Velrun fleet. His ships had conquered dozens of species. He would not bow to these newcomers. "Open a channel," he ordered. "Let me speak to this human." The channel opened. Krelvac stood tall on his bridge, projecting confidence he did not feel. "Human commander, you make a mistake. Yes, we destroyed your peace fleet. They were weak and foolish like all humans. You cannot threaten us. We are Velrun. We are conquerors. We will destroy you just as we destroyed your pathetic relief mission." Taman's expression did not change. "You have made your choice. May your gods forgive you, because we will not." The transmission ended. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. The Velrun crews waited, nervous but ready. The human fleet hung in space, silent and still. Then hell arrived. War Master Wu Jin gave the order from the bridge of the Retribution. "Vanguard fleet, engage. All weapons free. Show them no mercy." 5,000 ships of the Vanguard fleet opened fire simultaneously. Railgun rounds crossed the distance at 3% of light speed, too fast for the Velrun to even see them coming. The first volley hit the Velrun defense line before they could react. Velrun ships exploded. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons and missiles, could not handle the kinetic impacts. The railgun rounds punched straight through, carrying so much energy that they turned entire ships into expanding clouds of plasma. Krelvac watched in horror as a third of his fleet died in the first 10 seconds. "Return fire! All ships, return fire!" The Velrun fleet responded, launching missiles and energy beams. They hit the human ships, and for a moment, Krelvac felt hope. But the human shields held. The human armor absorbed the hits. The human ships kept coming. Captain Kyung-soo commanded the Vengeance from the starboard side. His fighter wings launched in perfect formation, 300 small craft moving as one organism. They swarmed a Velryn heavy cruiser, overwhelming its point defenses through sheer numbers. Each fighter carried plasma torpedoes designed by Sang-Ho's team. When all 300 hit the cruiser at once, the ship simply vanished in a ball of nuclear fire. Target destroyed, Kyung-Soo reported calmly. Moving to next target. His fighters regrouped and dove toward another Velryn ship. The pattern repeated. The Velryn were fighting individuals. The humans were fighting as a single mind, connected through Nari's quantum network. Admiral Taemin watched from Earth's fury as his battle plan unfolded perfectly. The Velryn were trying to form their traditional hammer and anvil formation, but it was useless. Every direction they turned, they faced human guns. Every position they took, humans surrounded them. Sector 7 reporting, his tactical officer said. Velryn cruiser squadron attempting to escape toward hyperspace point. Hunter Group 12 is already in position, Nari reported from her station. The Velryn ships will jump directly into our guns. Taemin watched as the Velryn ships activated their hyperspace drives. They vanished in a flash of light, thinking they had escaped. 3 seconds later, they emerged at their destination and found human warships waiting for them. The Velryn ships were destroyed before they could react. No escape, no refuge. Exactly as planned. The battle raged for 3 hours. 3 hours of continuous fighting. The Velryn fought hard, fought desperately, but they were drowning in an ocean of human firepower. For every human ship damaged, 5 Velryn ships died. Krelvak's dominance was hit by a railgun round that tore through 3 decks. Emergency systems struggled to seal the breaches. Half his weapons were offline. His shields were failing. Admiral, we have lost 70% of the fleet, his tactical officer reported. The remaining ships are requesting permission to surrender. Never, Krelvak shouted. We are Velryn. We do not surrender to prey species. Sir, we are not fighting prey. We are being hunted. We are the prey now. Before Krelvak could respond, the dominance shook violently. Another hit, then another. The lights flickered and died, replaced by emergency red lighting. Through the viewport, Krelvak saw the retribution approaching. The human flagship was massive, undamaged, its weapons still firing at Velryn ships that tried to flee. His communication system crackled to life. War Master Wu Jin's voice came through. Admiral Krelvak, your fleet is destroyed. Your defense is broken. Surrender now, or I will fire my main cannon directly at your bridge. Krelvak looked around his ruined bridge. His crew was watching him, waiting. Some were injured. All were terrified. His entire fleet, the pride of the Velryn military, was scattered debris. If I surrender, what happens to my crew? He asked quietly. They will be treated according to military law, Wu Jin replied. They will be prisoners of war. They will be fed, sheltered, and eventually returned home after justice is served. And if I do not surrender? Then you all die in the next 30 seconds. Krelvak closed his eyes. He had been so confident, so sure that humans were weak. He had laughed when they destroyed the relief fleet. He had mocked their compassion. Now he understood. Humans were not weak. They were patient. They saved their strength for when it mattered. And when they struck like a hammer from the heavens. Dominance surrenders, he said, his voice breaking. All Velryn ships, cease fire. Stand down. We have lost. Across the battlefield, the remaining Velryn ships lowered their shields and powered down their weapons. Out of 2,000 vessels, fewer than 300 survived, and all of those were damaged. Admiral Taemin watched the surrender and felt no joy, only grim satisfaction. Secure the surrendered vessels, he ordered. Medical teams, assist their wounded. We are not savages. But the war was not over. The Velryn fleet was destroyed, but the homeworld remained. Taemin opened a channel to the planet's surface. Velryn government, this is Supreme Commander Taemin. Your military is defeated. Your fleet is destroyed. We are now going to demonstrate what happens to those who attack human civilians. On the surface, in the capital city, the Velryn government watched in terror as the human fleet repositioned. Thousands of ships moved into orbital positions directly above military targets. Mireille sat at her station, her fingers flying across the controls. She had spent months mapping every Velran military installation, every weapons factory, every government building. Now she was coordinating the targets. Bombardment solution confirmed, she reported. All targets locked. Taman looked at her. Are you certain? No civilian areas? I am certain, Admiral. These targets are purely military and governmental. Civilian casualties will be minimal if our accuracy holds. Then proceed. Mireille pressed the button that would honor her sister's memory in fire and destruction. All bombardment ships, you are cleared to engage. Fire at will. The bombardment began. Not nuclear weapons, not antimatter bombs. Sang-Ho's kinetic impactors rained from the sky, each one precisely targeted. They fell like artificial meteors, controlled and directed. When they hit, they released energy equivalent to tactical nuclear weapons. The Velran military headquarters was the first to die. The building and everything in a half-kilometer radius simply ceased to exist, replaced by a smoking crater. The main shipyard followed. Then the weapons research facility. Then the government palace where the council that approved the attack had met. For 6 days, the bombardment continued. Methodical, precise, devastating. The Velran military infrastructure was being systematically erased. The civilian population was left untouched. Human ships broadcast evacuation warnings before each strike. Rescue teams helped civilians flee military zones. Medical supplies were dropped to hospitals. The message was clear. Humanity was not here for genocide. Humanity was here for justice. On the 7th day, the bombardment stopped. The Velran homeworld's military capacity was reduced to 0. Their government buildings were craters. Their proud military academies were ruins. Only then did Taman open communications with the surviving Velran civilian leadership. His message was simple and terrible. Your military is destroyed. Your government is removed. You will surrender unconditionally. You will face trial for war crimes. You will spend the next century rebuilding under Earth's oversight. This is not negotiable. This is justice. The Velran had no choice but to accept. And across the galaxy, every species watched and learned the same lesson. Never provoke humanity. 6 months after the war ended, Admiral Taman walked through the Memorial Garden in Geneva. The morning sun cast long shadows across the grass. 500 glass pillars rose from the ground like crystals, each one perfectly clear and polished, each one bearing a name. He stopped at the pillar marked Commander Heejin Park, Diplomatic Corps. Someone had left fresh flowers at its base. They did this every day. Taman knew who it was. I thought I would find you here, Mireille said, walking up behind him. Taman turned to see her in her military uniform. She wore the rank of major now, earned through her work coordinating the bombardment campaign. Her sister's diplomatic insignia still rested on her shoulder, but the black mourning ribbon was gone, replaced by a silver star that meant mission accomplished. How are you doing? Taman asked. Better, Mireille said honestly. For a long time I was just angry. I wanted them all dead. Every Velran, every one. But then I went to the homeworld last month as part of the reconstruction oversight team. I saw Velran children. I saw families. I saw people who had nothing to do with the attack. And I realized something. What was that? Heejin would not have wanted genocide. She would have wanted exactly what we did. Destroy the military, remove the government, but save the people. Give them a chance to be better. Mireille touched her sister's pillar gently. I think she would be proud of how it ended. Taman nodded. I hope so. I hope all 500 of them would be proud. They stood in silence for a moment, honoring the dead. Then Mireille smiled slightly. Have you heard the latest news from the Galactic Council? Which news? There seems to be a new development every day. 3 more species have requested military alliances with Earth. That makes 15 total. And the Galactic Trade Assembly wants to establish their headquarters on Luna. They said, and I quote, "We wish to conduct business under the protection of those who keep their promises." Taman allowed himself a small smile. The galaxy certainly changed its tune quickly. The change had been dramatic. Before the war, most alien species had barely acknowledged humanity's existence. Earth was seen as a newcomer, a primitive species that had just learned to cross the stars. Interesting, perhaps, but not important. Then humanity had destroyed the Velrin in less than a week. Now every species wanted to be Earth's friend. Trade agreements flooded in. Diplomatic missions arrived daily. Species that had ignored humanity's messages for years were now begging for meetings. Some wanted protection. Some wanted technology. All of them wanted to make sure they never became humanity's enemy. Captain Wu Jin, now Fleet Admiral Wu Jin, commanded the Galactic Peacekeeping Fleet from the Bridge of the Retribution. The fleet numbered 10,000 ships now, a mix of human vessels and ships from allied species who requested to serve alongside humanity. Admiral, we are approaching the Corvin sector, his navigation officer reported. Good. What is the situation there? The Corvin Empire and the Tellus Republic have been disputing the border for 3 months. Both sides have assembled military forces. Intelligence suggests a battle could begin within days. Wu Jin stood and straightened his uniform. Open a channel to both governments. The communication screens activated, showing the leaders of both species. They looked surprised to see a human admiral addressing them. This is Fleet Admiral Wu Jin of the Galactic Peacekeeping Fleet. We are aware of your border dispute. We are aware that you have assembled military forces. I am here to inform you that if either side initiates combat, the peacekeeping fleet will intervene. The Corvin Emperor bristled. This is not your concern, human. This is a matter between our species. It became my concern when you started threatening galactic peace, Wu Jin replied calmly. You have 2 options. Sit down and negotiate a solution with neutral mediators, or fight each other and face the consequences. What consequences? The Tellus president asked nervously. Wu Jin gestured to his tactical officer, who transmitted sensor data to both governments. The data showed 10,000 warships in orbit just outside the Corvin system. Those consequences, Wu Jin said. Now, I will ask again. Would you prefer negotiation or conflict? Both leaders stared at the sensor data. They had heard the stories about what happened to the Velrin. They had seen the footage of 20,000 human ships appearing from nowhere. Neither wanted to test whether those stories were true. We will negotiate, the Corvin Emperor said quickly. As will we, the Tellus president agreed. Excellent decision, Wu Jin said. We will provide neutral mediators and a secure location for talks. You have 1 week to reach an agreement. If you cannot, we will impose one. Understood? Both leaders nodded. The communication ended. Wu Jin sat back in his command chair and allowed himself a slight smile. This was the 3rd potential war they had prevented in the last 2 months, and they had not fired a single shot. The threat alone was enough. Captain Kyung-soo, now commanding his own sector fleet, contacted him on a private channel. Another bloodless victory? Kyung-soo asked. The best kind, Wu Jin replied. We proved at Velrin that we can fight. Now we prove that we prefer not to. Strength allows us to choose peace, not weakness. Across the galaxy, human influence spread. Not through conquest, but through reputation and capability. Nari had become the director of the Galactic Intelligence Network, coordinating information sharing between dozens of species. Her quantum communication network was now the backbone of galactic diplomacy. She sat in her office on Earth, reviewing reports from across known space. 3 potential conflicts defused. 2 trade disputes resolved. 1 species requesting help dealing with a natural disaster. The network was working exactly as designed. Her assistant entered. Director, the Velrin Reconstruction Committee has submitted their monthly report. Nari opened the file and read through it carefully. The Velrin homeworld, now officially renamed New Covenant, was transforming. Under Earth's supervision, the militaristic government had been replaced with a democratic system. The weapons factories were being converted to produce civilian goods. The military academies were now teaching engineering and medicine. It was not easy. Some Velrin resented the occupation. Some wanted to return to their old ways. But most, especially the younger generation, saw this as a chance for their species to be better than they had been. The report showed progress. Crime was down, education was up, the economy was stabilizing. In another 5 years, the Velrun would be ready to self-govern again, this time as a peaceful member of the galactic community. Nari approved the report and sent a recommendation to extend Earth's support for reconstruction efforts. The Velrun had been enemies, but they did not have to remain enemies forever. Sang-Ho had transformed from a weapons designer back to what he loved most, building the future. He now led the Terran Research Consortium, a massive organization that shared humanity's technology with peaceful species. His latest project was a medical breakthrough, a treatment for a disease that plagued the Delian species, killing thousands of them each year. Human medical technology, combined with Delian biology knowledge, had created a cure. The trials are successful, his research partner, a Delian scientist, reported excitedly. We can begin mass production immediately. This will save millions of lives. Sang-Ho felt a warmth in his chest that he had not felt since before the war. This was what technology should be used for. Not destruction, but creation. Not death, but life. Begin production, he authorized. And make sure it is distributed freely to all Delian worlds. No payment required. Sir, the Delian government is prepared to pay. This cure is priceless to them. Which is exactly why we should give it freely, Sang-Ho said. Humanity went to war to punish those who attacked kindness. Now we show the galaxy what kindness looks like when it is protected by strength. Give the cure away, build goodwill, show them that Earth keeps its promises. The factory on Mars began production that same day. Within a month, the cure reached every Delian world. The gratitude was overwhelming. The Delian government erected monuments to humanity. Children were named after the human scientists who developed the cure. An entire species became humanity's eternal ally. This pattern repeated across the galaxy. Humanity sharing technology. Humanity protecting the weak. Humanity mediating disputes. Always with the quiet understanding that behind the diplomats and scientists stood the most powerful military fleet in known space. Admiral Taemin, now serving as Ambassador General, received visitors in his office overlooking Lake Geneva. Today's visitor was the Corvan Emperor, the same one who had nearly gone to war months ago. Ambassador General Taemin, I come to thank you personally, the Emperor said. The mediation prevented a war that would have killed millions of my people and millions of Tellus. We have now signed a permanent peace treaty. I am glad reason prevailed, Taemin said. That is always preferable to violence. I must admit, when humans first appeared, many of us thought you were just another species trying to gain power through military might. But you have shown us something different. You use your strength to prevent war, not cause it. Taemin nodded slowly. We learned our lessons the hard way. For thousands of years, humans fought each other. We nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times. When we finally achieved peace, we thought the galaxy would work the same way. We thought kindness alone was enough. The Velrun taught us otherwise. What did they teach you? That kindness without strength is weakness. That compassion must be protected. That we can extend our hand in friendship, but we must be ready to make a fist if that hand is struck. The galaxy respects strength. So we show our strength, and then we use it to protect peace. The Emperor was quiet for a moment. The Velrun made a terrible mistake. Yes, Taemin agreed. But we made sure it was a lesson for everyone, not just them. We could have wiped them out completely. We could have turned their world into a dead rock. But that would have taught the wrong lesson. Instead, we showed that humanity punishes those who start wars, but we help those who seek peace. After the Emperor left, Taemin returned to the memorial garden one final time that day. The sun was setting, painting the sky in orange and purple. The glass pillars caught the light and turned it into rainbows. He stood before Hyojin's pillar and spoke quietly. I hope we did right by you. I hope all of you would approve of what we built from your sacrifice. We did not let your deaths turn us into monsters. We used them to become protectors. The galaxy is safer now, more peaceful. And it is because 500 of you were brave enough to offer help to strangers. The wind rustled through the trees. Somewhere, a bird sang. Taemin closed his eyes and remembered the day the relief fleet launched. The cheering crowds, the hope in everyone's eyes, the belief that humanity could make a difference. That belief had not died with the fleet. It had transformed. Humanity did make a difference, just not the way anyone expected. The galaxy had tested humanity by killing its peace envoys. Humanity had responded by building the strongest military in known space. But then humanity had used that military not for conquest, but for keeping peace. Not for domination, but for protection. The SOS had been a trap, but in trying to destroy humanity's compassion, the Velrun had instead given it teeth. Now, when humans offered help, it came with the unspoken promise: accept friendship or face fury. Most chose friendship, and those who did not quickly learned what the Velrun had discovered too late. Humanity's mercy was genuine, but so was humanity's wrath. Choose wisely. As Taman walked away from the memorial, the sun dipped below the horizon. Above, the stars began to appear. Among those stars, 14,000 warships stood ready, forever vigilant, forever prepared. The galaxy was at peace, and Earth intended to keep it that way.